Okay, so we were going to start with 24.14, and you can see that the functional group that is found in 27.14a, we have an ester here, we have another one here, we have another one here. So this is some kind of polyester. And if we highlight the ester bonds, there's one here, there's one here, there's one here. So what we're going to do is we're going to cleave those bonds. Just imagine that we're breaking those bonds. And thus the diol portion would come from this. The diacid portion would come from this. The diol portion, again, would come from this portion. And the diacid portion would come from this part here. So what's our diol? Our diol would look like this. That is ethylene glycol. Ethylene glycol. And our diacid comes from malonic acid, which is a 3-carbon carboxylic diacid. This is malonic acid. And we looked at the common names of diacids in the carboxylic acids chapter. The next one is a polycarbonate. How do we know that? Because we have a carbonate here, we have one here, we have one, oh, can't see that one. But anyhow, this is a polycarbonate. And so what we're going to do is we're going to imagine that it's made from phosgene, which is the carbonyl and 2 chlorines attached to it. And so our diol is going to come from all of this, or all of this. And so what do we need to put that together? We need this compound, which is phosgene. And then the diol is going to be this diol. So this is our diol plus phosgene, and we make a polycarbonate. And the last one, we have this compound here. So this is epsilon caprolactam. It gets hydrolyzed to make epsilon caproic acid. Then it undergoes polymerization to make nylon 6. So what I'm going to do, since we're going to be forming amide bonds, right? We know that a nylon consists of amide bonds like this. I'll just draw something like that. Okay, an amide is a nylon. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start kind of right here. Okay, I'm going to start with that carbonyl and have my open bracket. This, there we go. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 carbons. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 carbons. Then I have my nitrogen. And then I'm going to have an amide bond to the next carbonyl. So I'm going to go like this. So I'll have my carbonyl, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I'm going to have a nitrogen, and that's going to be bound to another carbon. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I missed a carbon. I thought I made a mistake there. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So then I have another nitrogen like this, and then I have another carbonyl, so on and so forth. So anyhow, hopefully you get the idea there. So I'm going to close this off like this. That's our repeating unit. And I mean, that's more than the repeating unit because it's asking about the repeating unit. The repeating unit is actually only this part. Okay, this is what repeats over and over. So you could put an N here and say this is the repeating unit. And then it says compare that to nylon 6,6, and decide which one has a smaller repeating unit. Well, if you go back here, so all the way back here to when we talked about nylon 6,6, which was right here, this is the repeating unit of nylon 6,6. So I'm going to draw that back here. I'm going to run out of space probably, but we'll try to stick it in there. We're going to end up with nylon 6,6, which looks like this, and we're only going to do one repeating unit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Our carbonyl, then we have the 1,6-hexane diamine, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nitrogen, and then that's the repeating unit, this one. So this is nylon 6, 6, and this one is nylon 6. And so you can see that the repeating unit for nylon 6,6 is longer Thus, the repeating unit for nylon 6 is the shorter one. The rest of the chapter, I'm going to leave that as an FYI. It's not covered on the final exam, and it won't be covered on your quiz. It talks about things like chain growth polymers, and you can get into that if you want, and branched polymers. Very last section talks about the properties of polymers. So if you find that kind of thing interesting, then go ahead and take a look at that. But again, I won't be covering those sections on the quiz, and they won't be on your final exam. We're going to end at section 27.4.